Just do it. Don't be afraid. Just go out and do it. Once you're out there, you realise how easy it is. It's not difficult. Just be sensible. Be calm. Be sensible. Just and you'll be fine. Well, I've still got my old R60/6, which I still ride. I've got a BMW R80 GS Basic, which is actually, hard to believe, it's 20 years old. I think of it as my new bike. It's 1998, so it's actually 20 years old. But that's my everyday bike. And then I've got a Beta Alp 350 and a Yamaha Sero, which I use for my off-roading and green lanes and stuff. I hope not. I think riding is a very important. It's a very important part of my life, actually, and I think riding a bike keeps me, I should say. I feel it keeps me young in mind and spirit. So yeah, I certainly hope I won't ever stop riding, unless I'm forced to. It was really, really difficult when I got back. Incredibly difficult. And I think part of the problem was that when I got back, I had absolutely nobody I could talk to about my trip. Because nobody understood it. There were not like-minded people around. They didn't exist. Whereas now, if you do a trip like that, you can go to umpteen overland events or adventure this, and you can even on Facebook or on social media, you can find like-minded people who have done similar sort of trips. You can swap your stories. You understand what you both went through. When I did it, people hadn't done it, and there was nobody I could talk to. The only two people in the world who I had who understood what I'd gone through was Robert, who was in Holland, and Mark, who I'd met. And he wasn't a motorcyclist. I mean, I met him along the way, but he didn't do any of the motorcycling. But he had some idea of what I'd been through. But Robert really was the only one who understood what I'd been through and what the whole trip had involved, and just trying to survive every day. So it was quite isolating. And my parents, they tried to be interested, but they just didn't understand. And my friends were much the same. They tried to be interested, but you can't understand. You can't relate to something you haven't done like that. It's like, I don't know, slight extreme, but like Neil Armstrong talking to people about walking on the moon, and most people could say, oh yeah, that must have been whatever, that must have been fun, but you don't know, you can't explain it. I have to say, I always like to push boundaries, and I always like to take on challenges and do things that I don't think I can do. Exactly. It's this whole thing of pushing yourself, and once you know you can take on a water tower and convert it, then you can do anything. You can. So yes, I'd say it probably all started when I was expelled from school when I was 16. I mean, when I got back from my trip, I thought, oh, I could write a book. But I think because there was absolutely nobody interested in what I'd done, I thought, well, if friends and family aren't interested, and none of the bike press are interested, what's the bloody point? So I just didn't bother. And it was only in 2000. Well, it was actually it was in 2009 that my story first went on the internet, and that was BMW had asked a journalist friend of mine just to write a short little article about my story. And so Paul wrote this article, BMW put it up on BMW International website, And then from that article, it was sort of picked up by motorcyclists online, and it kind of gradually, so for the next sort of 5 or 6 years, it was slowly started to filter out, and it was blogged and shared and blah, 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 all around the world. And then, so it was about 2014, it was this agent in Hollywood who had found the story on the internet and wanted to buy the rights to my story to make a film. So there's this bizarre thing of nobody wanting to know. It's like Hollywood wanting to make a bloody film of it. So they flew me out to Los Angeles, and I was kind of wined and dined and met all these producers and script writers and all this kind of stuff. And but because I hadn't actually looked at any of my journals or diaries or anything for 30 years, I was kind of scratching around trying to remember what had actually happened and all the details and everything. So they then wrote this sort of storyline, which was just rubbish. I mean, it really was awful. And so then I decided, actually, the first step is to write a book. So at least there's an accurate record that I have written of my story and what happened to me. So that's where we're at now. So I've written a book, and I've got some producers and whatever who are interested in really careful with that kind of stuff. I mean, I'd rather there was no film than a crap film. I do not want a crap film about my trip. I'm not that bothered, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know much about the whole film industry world or how it all works, but from what I understand, once they've kind of taken the rights, they can kind of pretty much do what they want with it. So you have to sort of trust the people. You have to, and it all comes down to obviously the team of people who you give it to. So you have to really trust the people that they're going to do it justice, and they're going to do the film in a way that you're going to be happy with it, and that's quite a big ask, and that's quite a big trust, I think. So whether or not I find somebody or not, we shall see. But also, you see, if you give the option to somebody, they can then re-option it to somebody else. So you might trust the person that you're giving it to as an option, but they could then option it to somebody else who completely makes a hash of it. So, I mean, you can try and write in clauses saying, that you need to be consulted and all that kind of stuff. But basically, all that means is that they consult you, they ignore you, they do what they want anyway, and they'll tick the box. So I'm just a bit, I suppose I'm slightly cynical about it all, really. But I might be doing them a huge injustice. But I'm just very, very aware. Or Keira Knightley, she's actually English. I think it has to be an English person, actually. I don't really want an American. No offence to Americans. I just think an English person kind of gets it, and that's why actually I want it to be made by a British, film producer rather than an American. I don't want it like Hollywoodized, and because they just kind of wouldn't really get it. These people, these producers, have to go out and get interest. So they have to try and get actors or actresses, get people on board, get the finances, get the money, get the studios, and it's like this massive jigsaw of pulling all. And if they get all these pieces and they kind of vaguely fit, then you might be talking about something happening, maybe. I mean, that's So it's a big maybe. Oh, now there's a question. Probably not, actually. Probably not. It's not that one. I don't know anybody writing, because she's got well over 100,000 miles on her now, and you have to she's got lots of kind of quirks. and you have to really know her to know, and that's what old bikes used to be like. It's like old British bikes, they all had, each one had their own kind of personality and character, and you had to get to know them so you were the best person to ride them, if you know what I mean. And she's a bit like that. She's an old bike, and I wouldn't really want her riding it. What's next? Oh, well, I bought this place in Italy for my sins. This ruin in Italy, with this church next door, with this old chapel next to it. And I'm doing that up at the moment. So, well, basically now I've got my book, which is obviously I've got lots of stuff that I'm doing for that. It's been published in America in May, so I'm doing a book tour in America early May. And I'm just kind of working on Italy. I've still got my practice, so I'm still building all this stuff, all my work in the office I'm still doing. So yeah, that's about. I mean, I got back from Pakistan. I did a 3-week tour in Pakistan last September. So I still do these. I still travel. I still do bike trips, but now with my whole kind of book stuff, it's sort of got a bit. I've got a bit kind of tied down to doing shows and events and presentations.